I started working on Dolphin Tale, and I met this guy, Pete Zuccarini. And it's weird how that the film industry works, because the union runs everything in that business.
Bro, I've gone 100 and some episodes, whatever it is, without actually having to put the bathroom break in there. And I bring the pro podcaster in here, the #1 podcast I've had in here by a mile, and he's like, oh, I gotta take a piss away to take a break.
Yeah, there's no, you leave it in there,
Hilarious.
man. It's fun.
Hilarious.
People like it. It's not going to turn anyone off.
You bring some out of my bladder, though, dude, because, like, that came out wrong.
Tell me more, Julian.
Anyway, like, when we did your podcast, how long was that podcast we did? Like 3.5 hours or something?
Yeah, it was almost 4 hours.
Bro, we got done. You're like, damn, bro, we just did like 3 hours and change.
I know, it didn't feel like that long.
I never had to stop to go. I have the worst bladder in America. Like, we never hear it. It's hidden. But, like, there's a point, at least one, oftentimes two, during the podcast where I'm looking at the guest going, okay, real quick, we're going to the bathroom, we're coming right back.
I'm usually really good at holding it, but I'm fucking drinking a Red Bull, a glass of whiskey, and a giant cup of coffee at the same time.
We do a lot of liquid on this show.
So I'm like, it's running through me. I couldn't hold it any longer.
We haven't had I was thinking about this, like, we always work in alcohol episodes. I don't think about it, though. It's very natural. It's not like, oh, we need one. It's like it just kind of happens. But we haven't done one since, I think, like episode 86. I don't know. There's been a lot of
How many
episodes
episodes have you done now? What number is this?
102 or 103?
Okay.
Something like that.
So what do you think happens to these podcasts now that moving forward, if Trump gets back in? What do you think happens when, do you think YouTube and Spotify and all these companies, they get stricter on us with all this disinformation and censoring and shadow banning and all this stuff? Or do you think it becomes more lenient?
What do you think?
I have no idea.
I have no idea either. But I
think it's becoming more lenient right now. Kind of. I think we're kind of like, they're kind of letting off. They're pulling the boot off our neck just a little bit. But I think Trump's going to get back into office. You do? I think so. If he runs, I think he'll make it. I think he'll get in.
I think he's in the mind of running. I don't think he'll win. And I think I'm very cynical, admittedly. I always have to say that on the political process. I genuinely have a strong distaste, shall we say, for pretty much everyone at this point. You know, if someone really presents me with a politician who's not a total scumbag and there's things to point to, I'll be like, okay, you know, like the mayor of Miami seems pretty good, but he's a fucking mayor, you know, and it is what it is. The guy Joe Manchin is interesting, you know, because he seems at least less beholden towards just like following his party. I have respect for that, but he's been in office a long time, so who the fuck knows? But like, you know, we have a guy who can barely talk right now in office. I think that's very bad. But I think that Trump I don't think our country can handle that.
They can't handle, maybe, I don't know if they can handle it or not, but who is going to run against him that would win?
It's a good question, but like, have you read his blog posts?
No. On Truth? Where does he post blogs?
Is that his social thing?
Yeah. Truth Social.
I don't know if he posts.
It's the #1 app in the App Store right now, bro. Dead ass.
I've never been on it, but I don't know if he is posting this stuff on. I don't know how that website works. I haven't been there, but he was posting like these statements from the office of President 45 or whatever, and they would show up as screenshots on Twitter. I started noticing them, I don't know, maybe 6-7 months ago, and I'd click them. Like someone would tweet in my feed, like, look at what he said, or something like that. I'm like, okay, well, let's see. And I'd read them, and I'd be like, there's no way this is real. This isn't a real statement. And I would go to Google.
Probably not.
No. I check. I go to Google, Donald Trump website, whatever, blog, boop, click it. I'd have the screenshot on one tab. I'd look. It's word for word.
What's his blog called? I don't even know how to fucking blog.
I don't know what the fuck it's called, but dude.
You think he's writing on a blog?
Dude.
No way.
No, it's his site.
No fucking
Yes.
way. Really?
I'm telling you. No, I'm telling. Like, did you see the one where he put out? And this one, I didn't bother me as much. It was very conceited, but it was kind of funny. Like that when he got a hole in one.
I haven't seen that.
That was real, right? Now that one didn't bother me much because it had no substance to it. It was like, okay, this is him being a troll. But like, he puts out these tweets like the Mother's Day one. Bro, I'm gonna pull this up.
I cheat in my business, I cheat on my wife, and I cheat in golf. Now fuck off.
It's a direct quote. Been confirmed by 2 people to me.
That's the fucking best quote ever.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, I've plagiarized that a few times on the golf course.
Oh my God. Donald Trump Mother's Day message. Now, mind you, this man, whether he's pissed off or not, he was the president, the most recent president of the United States of America.
Right.
All right.
Am I watching something right now?
No. I accidentally pulled up a YouTube video. Donald Trump Mother's Day message. I want to get the actual image of it. This was a real thing. Oh yeah, he did. So he did put this one on Truth because it's clearly a screenshot, and I know that's not Twitter unless someone like photoshopped this. So I assume that's Truth.
That's probably truth, yeah.
Happy Mother's Day to all, including racist, vicious, highly partisan, politically motivated, and very unfair radical left Democrat judges, prosecutors, district attorneys, and attorney generals who campaign unrelentlessly against you without knowing a thing and endlessly promise to take you down after years of persecution. Even the fake news says there is no case, or at best, it would be very hard to bring. Someday soon, they will start fighting record-setting violent crime. Love you all. Now,
click on this guy's link, though.
Now, let me even...
He's got a Ukrainian flag in his bio.
I understand that, but like this was a real... I already read this statement and checked it. Like, not on Truth. This is a real statement, right? So...
If you say so, Julian.
I swear I checked it. Even let me take his side for a minute, and let's assume everything he said there is true. In what way is that not insane to say? Just like, you remember when Biden's office put out the statement?
That looks like something Elon would tweet.
Right. Exactly. I think my thing's gone off for a sec. But like
this fucking amateur.
Imagine. I don't know why that's gone off because I turned that off. But like, imagine if like any president besides him ever tweet like, it's mother. Just say fucking Happy Mother's Day. It's not hard.
Yeah.
He's nuts. Like I don't. At this point, I'm like. I'm listening to people.
He's got moxie.
You talk for a minute because I got to turn this off.
He's got fucking moxie, Julian.
He's got moxie.
That's what you're supposed to do to maintain the Twitter clout. You got to talk. You got to come up with some brilliant fucking statement in 120 characters or less that's going to get retweets. That's what it's all about. It's not about fucking just saying Happy Mother's Day. You need the retweets.
I understand that, but there's like, and by the way, this is one that bothers me less. Like it's just like such a...
It's polarizing.
It's such a crass thing. Like, just fucking... All right, if you want to get retweets, put something funny in there that's ridiculous that makes you laugh at it. Like, by the way, like he used to do. I mean, that's... Like, when I talk to people, when I do my own autopsy of why at first I liked him, it was because he was funny.
He is fucking funny.
He is, and he is.
And he's
but
brilliant at trolling the fucking woke.
But here's the thing. Now... Like, it's so ridiculous. I haven't laughed in a while at shit he does. I'm like, it's not, this isn't fun. Like, this is crazy. You know? Like, it should, by the way, it shouldn't be hard to be a foil right now. You have an old man who can't talk in office. This is the easiest job ever, especially if you're still interested in office. And he's like going up to the tee and he's turning the other way and firing the drive in the opposite direction. It's like, what are you doing? My point is, I don't think I think there are enough people who are just like, I can't, fuck this. I can't.
Yeah, but you still haven't answered my question, Julian.
What was the question?
Who could run against Donald Trump and beat him?
The fucking guy in Florida will run against him.
DeSantis is not going to run against Trump?
Yeah, he will.
I don't think he will, bro.
Yeah, he will.
And you think Trump's base is going to vote for DeSantis over Trump?
No. But I think Trump's base is a lot smaller. I think there are a lot of people. Do you know how many?
How would they be small? What do you mean?
Do you know how many people in this country right now, because of a couple issues, are so turned off by anything to the left that they will vote for anything on the right that makes sense?
More people than ever, I think, are turning away from the left right now.
I agree. And by the way, to give some hope to the process, this is how politics has worked over time. Look at Bush's presidency. 06, 07, 08. Jesus Christ couldn't have beat Barack Obama. Right? Because people were turning away from that. They saw the evil that was at the time. It's that they're all on the same team. Like, this isn't we make it left right because it's the soup du jour of the moment, but they're all the same shit. Like, someone does something fucked up and people turn away. So right now people are turning away. But what I think is this time they know what they're getting with him. And now they see it's even crazier. They're like, this guy's out of his fucking mind. There are enough people who are like, this guy's out of his fucking mind.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think people like it. It's all about entertainment, you know? It's all about just fucking social media and entertainment and getting the most possible attention that you know, it's a fucking popularity contest. That's another thing. I think that the 4-year term is crazy.
Yeah.
Every 4 years, you got to pick somebody who's never done it before, which is a wild thing to do. Which makes me like, I think the model of Vladimir Putin is better than the every 4 years. I think you'd rather have somebody for 15 years or 20 years than a new person every 4 years and just playing the charade over and over again.
The problem is he has made himself a lifetime appointment. It's not 15, 20. There's no end in sight.
Exactly. There is no term, right?
The answer is neither.
I agree. Yeah.
The answer is, and this is, by the way, perfect parallel in my opinion to the right and left now. Like, I truly believe that. The more and more I think about this, and I try to like make sure I'm not leaning into things, so I constantly talk with other people about it because I'm like, well, chew on this and then tell me what you think, and then I want to hear their perspective. You know, people from all across the aisles too. I want to. It's not just people who are moderate. I want to hear people who are left and people who are right. But like, I truly believe the most common answers lie in the middle. I really do. Like, when you average it out, like, look at the top line common sense stuff. Like, ooh, let's not do genocide. Okay, yeah, let's not do that. Like, yes, there's black and white stuff. Very humanity, common sense stuff.
Right.
But, like, everything below that's not life and death. People try to make everything life and death, right? But I'm saying, like, the stuff that is, like, day to day, how people are able to act within a society. I listen to the left and I listen to the right, and I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. If you won, you're leaving out all these people and telling them to go fuck themselves. If you won, you're leaving out all these people and telling them to go fuck themselves. But if the answer were here, none of those people have to go fuck themselves.
Right.
Maybe some people have a little annoyance once in a while.
Yeah. I would vote for DeSanto over Trump 100%. I think that he'd be... I would hope that he would, if he ran... I would hope that he would run against Trump and beat him. I don't like Trump just because of how polarizing he was and how fucking just fucking cheap he was in the way that he polarized everybody and brought everybody against each other just to win, to win. He kind of like played a lot of his base, I feel like.
There was a bellwether election a few weeks ago too on this.
A what?
I might have used that term wrong. Like I probably used that wrong, but like a sample election that gives you an idea of where it's not perfect, but it gives you an idea of where people stand. Like, you can take a small population to say, well, maybe that's extrapolated to a big population. That kid, Madison Cawthorn from North Carolina, the Republican rep who talks to Trump every day and is like a Trumper, like style, everything. He lost. He was an incumbent. He lost to another Republican. Now that's one little district in North Carolina. It's only one place. But he was an incumbent. Young, 26, 27, well-known, huge brand. An asshole, but like well-known. Had a lot of vocal attention. Trump model, lost.
Right. Interesting.
That tells me something.
Interesting.
But then I see DeSanto now. Like, I think people get pushed to where they are. You know what I mean? Like, DeSanto at the beginning, I love how you call him DeSanto. I do that too. But like, at the beginning, he was so ripped for some of the COVID stuff, and yet he was, I'm not saying he was all right, but he was more right than wrong.
Yeah.
Than the other people.
Yeah.
And they kept on telling him, you're an asshole. You killed people, you son of a bitch. Even though he had like the highest old people vaccination rate compared to like New York, California, all these other high district places. And he, as a human being, what happens? You get pissed. So then you go farther. And I see him going farther, and I hope,
Yeah.
I hope to not see that, but I feel like that's inevitable with the left and right. Like they're always going to go farther.
Yeah, it's kind of like you see what gets you success or popularity, and you kind of just like fall into that role or that character, and you kind of become that person. And then eventually one day you look in the mirror and you're not even looking at the same person anymore. You just keep reinforcing what gets your base riled up, or what makes you more money. It's like this is my theory on Skip Bayless. You know Skip Bayless? Oh, God. He is so fucking cringe about, like, he has like everything it's always Tom Brady, Michael Jordan, LeBron James.
He's sick.
Is the worst.
He's sick.
And it doesn't matter what it is, he'll come up with some bullshit argument.
He's sick.
No matter how cringe it is, no matter how ridiculous it is, it's always anti-LeBron, pro-Jordan, pro-Tom Brady. And it's like, even if you had a conversation with the guy in private, that's like, I don't feel like that's who he actually is, but he's become this crazy polarizing sports figure because that's what got him to where he is today. And now Skip Bayless is gone. Now he's just that guy on TV, and he's become what has put him in that position.
When people show you who they are, listen.
Yeah.
This guy wrote a book 30 years ago trying to say, like, Troy Aikman fucks dudes and stuff.
Who did?
Skip Bayless.
Did he?
Oh, yeah. Troy Aikman can stand in a room with him. Oh, he'll kill him. He'll get, and like,
he said Troy Aikman
and
fucks
it's not,
guys?
and it's not like, he wasn't, it's a tough spot for Troy because he's like, you're making me have to be defensive about something ridiculous that I also don't care. Like it then becomes like an anti-gay thing, which is totally unfair to gay people.
In that. Right.
It's like, how fucking selfish are you doing that? Like, and even if he was, by the way, how fucking scummy are you to do that? Mm-hmm. Like, that's why Peter Thiel, you had on Bubba the Love Sponge, that's why Peter Thiel funded Hulk Hogan. Because they outed Peter Thiel.
Gawker did?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
And he said, fuck you.
Yeah.
And it was true,
They
right?
outed him for being gay? Like,
yes.
Nobody knew he was gay before that?
He hadn't been public about it.
Oh, wow.
Right? And so it's not to say he wasn't going to be at some point, but he wasn't an attention guy.
Right.
And they did that to him. And he's like, on principle, fuck you. Mm-hmm. So like, even if it was true, and it's not, Troy Aikman was very clear. I got a wife, I got kids, and which I guess doesn't necessarily mean whatever. But like,
he's a commentator now, right?
Yes, like that's who Skip Bayless always has been. I don't give him any energy. He's a scumbag. He's an awful, awful, awful guy. Like, if you are doing that to make $20 million instead of $8 million, go fuck yourself. That's why I like you, because you have a similar approach to things. You will do podcasts of a certain type of person, and then go over here and not give a fuck. Oh, I went from 500,000 views to 10,000 on this one. I was interested in that one. Fuck it, we're doing it. Oh, my documentaries were doing great. I want to do a podcast now. I'll do it. You're not beholden to shit. Now, you can't totally, if you didn't make any progress, you have to at some point, like, work with, okay, well, what things work, but there's a morality to it. You've never touched that morality. You have always been like, I'm Danny Jones. I talk with people. I shoot some documentaries. That's what I do. I hope you like it.
Yeah.
That's the bar I try to hold myself to. So when I see someone like Skip Bayless, even compared to like Stephen A. Smith and stuff.
Yeah.
Stephen A. Smith will still, he knows what he's doing. There's an acting element to it. I get it. But he'll still go in on stuff. Yeah. He'll still come at the smoke.
Right.
He'll say...
He's still kind of rational.
Yes.
Skip rationality is out the window.
He's a moron. But he's a very smart... That's the worst part. He knows he is. He's a very smart guy.
Moron,
yes,
right?
Exactly. He's a very smart guy. He knows exactly what he's doing. I hate that.
And he would rip every single player in the NFL or the NBA for like Kyrie. He shit on Kyrie for not getting vaccinated on his show, and he was on Fox Sports, And they were just like he was like the most outspoken guy against whenever players weren't wearing masks or whenever they weren't vaccinated. Skips on his Instagram like every time he got a fucking booster, he posted on Instagram. Yeah. The guy's just so cringe, man. He's just he plays on emotions. He's like a Trump. He's like the Trump of sports talk TV.
Yes, I agree.
Except he's super far, obviously left. He plays like
supposedly.
Yeah.
Who knows? You don't know what
really
these guys
is.
are saying. Like
right.
you know how many people probably.
His wife looks like him with a wig on.
Please don't say it again. I can't. Come on.
She does.
Come on.
Google her, Ernestine.
I see her. Come on.
You don't think she looks like him?
Ah, come on. I can't look at that now. I can't believe you just did that. I'm gonna be thinking about.
Have you ever seen them together in the same room?
No. Oh God damn it. It's always Ernestine.
There's a difference between conspiracies and conspiracy theories.
6 months.
Exactly. That's the difference. Oh, I love that quote.
That's fair. But again, it's like, well, what are you?
So, what do you think the next thing is after podcasts? What comes after podcasts? Because what was it before podcasts? What was the most popular form? Was it pranks? YouTube had there was a whole prank era, like a prank YouTubers. They were the biggest thing.
You're thinking of it in YouTube form, which isn't wrong, by the way.
Yeah, I don't think it's wrong. I think YouTube will last for a while.
I agree. I'll actually say this. I will give YouTube credit. You know, COVID was a wild thing. I'm not giving them credit on some of that. You know, even stuff I disagreed with, but like. Compared to the other platforms, they get a lot of shit. But from what I can see, as far as looking at extreme opinions on the respective sides, they let a lot go relative to the other. Maybe it's like Apple. It's a dwarf among midgets. But I am, for such a powerful place, they're fucking owned by Google. Mm-hmm. It's Google, right? Like, okay. You know, my expectations are low as fuck. That's not good, but like, that's promising. Whereas, you know, this whole Elon, what it's going to be aside, like, is not what I'd say about Twitter. You know? It's not what I'd say about TikTok. Right. So, you know, it's not the worst thing ever. But I don't know, to answer your question.
It's fascinating to me how podcasts have just become the thing for media in the past 10 years. And it's killed mainstream media. It's killed the news. It's killed television, late night talk shows.
There's people who get it and there's people who don't. That's kind of that's the crux. Like, I don't know if you spent like some time with David off camera or anything, like when you had him down there, but.
Which one?
David Satter.
Oh, yeah.
But like, here's a 70-year-old guy who came up legacy, you know, Financial Times, the whole bit. He's done 1 million, does every network, you know, right now.
The Don Boss Dingaling.
What?
The Don Boss Dingaling. David. He was slanging it in the Don Boss, bro.
Right.
This is allegedly. This is not.
You said that.
This is not factual.
But like, he was so. Not only was he like so respectful of the process and like so he fucking came here. He like flew home from Paris to like be on this. I was like, wow, cool. But he was like, wow, this is really cool. Like, he doesn't do anything like this.
Right.
But he came up on all the networks and everything. He's like, yeah, this makes sense. By the way, regardless of shit like he and I talked about that we disagreed on, like didn't take it personally. It's like, okay, you know, how many people are like that? Not. My guess, I don't know a lot of these people, but like from what I see them talk, they're not. Those people don't think like that.
Yeah.
Like people from that legacy.
Right. No, they don't.
Know?
You're right. Yeah, I just always wonder what's next. What's going to be the next thing? Like, it seems like this is almost a step backwards.
How so?
Like, because it's so primitive. This form of media. Like, look what we're doing right now. We're sitting here for 3 hours at a table talking about random shit. Like, this is not like it's complete reverse of what it was before this. Before this, the whole YouTube algorithm was make the videos under 5 minutes, a minute long. They have to be super engaging and they have to be over the top. This is the opposite of that. And this is basically taking over the media landscape. So I always wonder what's going to be the next fucking thing. And it's always the least obvious thing.
I'm going to push back on that, actually. When did you discover YouTube? Like, actually start going on it?
Probably 2006 when it came out.
Right when it came out.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were a day one.
When I got the iPhone 1 and it was pre-installed on it.
So 2007. Me using it extensively, you were earlier, right? Like, I mean, I was on it a couple times, but I wasn't like, oh, YouTube. I would say probably for me, 2009, 2010 is when I started to use it heavy. And you know what I started using it for? Documentaries.
Watching documentaries?
Yes.
Really?
Now, these would be playlists of a bunch of 40-minute ones I watch back to back to back, or sometimes it'd be like a 2-3 hour one. What are a lot of your Koncrete podcasts?
So that's what I'm doing now. I'm watching documentaries on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'm just 20 years late.
Still, but they're relevant. They're more relevant than ever.
Right.
I was probably a little early to it. But like, what are podcasts when you have on a guy like John? He's telling a wild story, right?
Right.
I think you said it yourself. You're like, it's a documentary without the edit or whatever.
Yeah,
didn't really change.
That's what it is. But were documentaries really the thing on YouTube in the 2000s?
Dude, they weren't the thing. There's a lot of things. But they were big. These things had views.
Yeah, but when you think of like the whole explosion with influencers and shit, and you got to have a podcast. You got to have, you obviously you have the TikTok, you have the Twitter, the Instagram, blah, 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 blah. But now everybody has a fucking podcast. Like if you want to be big on YouTube, you got to have a podcast. Before it was something, before podcasts, what was it? It was like vlogs. Before vlogs, what was it? Pranks. Everyone was doing pranks. And there was no podcast. No one
How
even
many
fucking
people
heard of a
stick with it, though?
podcast. How many people stick with it?
Yeah, of like those people.
Very few. Very few.
Like, I'm very impressed with Logan that they weren't good at that at
Do you
first.
like his podcast? Do you listen to his podcast?
Yes. Not all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different vibe. I like it. I think I heard some of the early ones and they were not good. But like the thing I've learned about Logan Paul, he's like anyone else. He's not perfect, but I like Logan Paul a lot because when he says I'm going to put my mind to something and do it, he does. And like he's a very talented guy. But like hosting a podcast is not towards the top of his list of natural talents.
Yeah.
But he's and he has a couple other people there, but like they do a good job. Like it's engaging.
Yeah. It seems like it's one of his top priorities.
Yes. And how many episodes is he in now?
Who knows?
A lot.
No clue.
Right? Like they have put their money where their mouth is. I respect that a lot.
Yeah.
How many people do that?
Right.
Like, does David Dobrik have a podcast?
He's gonna be the next president. He's gonna be president one day, isn't he?
Logan?
Yeah. Logan Paul, president of the United States.
I would never purposely bet against Logan. I wouldn't. I actually became a fan because I'm not a vlog guy.
Right.
The only time I've ever watched vlogs is to study how great content creators have pulled it off now since I've become one. I never watched prior to 2020, I never fucking watched a blog.
Yeah. What about Casey Neistat? You never watched any of his vlogs? Really?
Ever.
He has some of the greatest vlogs.
I've seen some now, but like I was never a vlog guy. Mm-hmm. But like I became a fan of Logan after the Japanese forest thing. Because I could tell he had done something wrong for sure. Like that was not smart.
What did he do exactly?
If I'm remembering correctly, he was in the suicide forest in Japan, and they came across a guy hanging, who had hung himself. He was literally hanging from a tree.
He showed it on YouTube?
And he reacted to it like he was vlogging during the time, and then...
this will be a great thumbnail.
Yeah. And he kept... And it was like his reaction, if I remember correctly, was like pretty... he was struck by it. It wasn't like, oh, let me totally act here. But, to then actually afterwards think about it and upload, that wasn't smart.
Right.
But I'm like, the dude is 22 years old.
Exactly.
He's been working since he was 14. He's still 22.
Right.
Right?
Right.
We do stupid shit.
Oh, yeah.
And like, you could, yes, was part of it, oh, I got caught in something I didn't think about? Yes, that's human nature. But like, I saw that, and then he launched a podcast shortly after. I'm like, you know what? I respect this guy working.
He's trying.
Yeah, he's keeping his head down. He has recognized a million times that was. He says like it wasn't just that. There were other things I was doing in my life at that point that were not smart.
Right.
Like my head was a little filled.
Yeah.
Right, and I respect that. Like I was an idiot at 22. I was an idiot at 24. I was a fucking moron.
Yeah.
Like. I can't imagine, as much as I regret not getting to my thing earlier, I can't imagine doing this at 22. Holy fuck. Oh my God. I'd be in prison.
Dude, I was such a loser in my 20s. Like, I wasn't doing anything. I mean, I was doing some shit, but I wasn't like...
You were making content.
I was making tons of content. Yeah, I guess I was doing stuff. But if I think back now about how fucking dumb I was, I'm still an idiot.
Wait a minute. Weren't you trained by the Pirates of the Caribbean guy?
Yeah, for Underwater Cinematographer.
All right, yeah, I'm going to correct you on this. So,
but I was still an idiot.
Let's talk about it. I don't care. This was a serious talent. So at what point did this happen?
Well, I was working on Dolphin Tale 1.
What year was that?
2011, maybe before 2010, 2000. Right.
What were you?
I think
22?
the movie came out in 2011.
Or were you like 22 working on it?
Yeah, early 20s. Yeah, 22, 23 probably.
Because you had said you shot a lot of surfing videos where you used whatever that fucking thing was
Yeah, the
called.
water housing.
And yeah.
I started working on Dolphin Tale, and I met this guy, Pete Zuccarini. And it's weird how that the film industry works. Because the union runs everything in that business. And every single job is protected by the union. So the underwater cinematography job is one of the highest paying rare skills that you can have in the movie business. So, and there's only a small amount of them. Pete, the guy I met, shot every single one of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies.
So he's the GOAT.
He's the GOAT of underwater cinematography. 100%. He's also shot a handful of Harmony Korine's movies. I don't know if you know who Harmony Korine is, but he's one of the best filmmakers in the world.
What's his name?
Ever. Harmony Korine.
How do you spell the last name?
Korine, I believe. I think there's an E. But he made Spring Breakers. He made Beach Bum.
Okay.
Gummo.
I'm not familiar with the name.
Cult filmmaker. You never seen Beach Bum with Matthew McConaughey?
Maybe. Sometimes I'm bad with
He's a
titles.
fucking genius.
No, it says
he directed a ton of
2019.
Gucci Mane videos.
I didn't see it. Interesting.
Directed music videos for Gucci Mane. He's a fucking god in filmmaking. Anyways, him and his kid go to school together. So Pete was working on Dolphin Tale. He was the underwater cinematographer for Dolphin Tale. And me and Pete were like, we had so much in common. We both grew up on the water, both loved fishing, surfing, everything on the water. And I was gravitated towards him, and I was obsessed with everything he was doing. I was always asking him a million questions. He was helping me out, showing me his cameras and what he was, the type of things he was shooting, showing me how he built. For Dolphin Tale, they had to build an underwater housing that was the size of a fucking Volkswagen, because the movie was filmed in 3D. So we had this crazy 3D red camera rig that was enormous, and they had to have a giant water housing that they had to build a custom dolly just to move it around.
This guy's filmography, by the way, I have it up behind you.
Oh, do you really?
Absurd.
Oh, yeah.
Bro.
It's insane. It's fucking insane. Life of Pi, what a crazy movie. That whole movie was shot in water.
Avatar 3 coming up. Avatar, The Way of the Water coming up.
He shot Avatar. He's been shooting Avatar 3 for 10 fucking years, bro.
Black Panther, the second one coming up.
He's been working on Avatar since probably 2013, I think.
Fast and Furious 9.
Yeah.
I'm going through the best names.
Pete is a legend. He's a legend.
Spider-Man.
I did a podcast with him on an island off Key Biscayne.
Oh, that was the guy in Miami you did that with.
Yes.
Yo.
We took his boat out to a
watch that.
fucking island with downtown Miami in the background.
Oh, yo, he did Deepwater Horizon too.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Any movie that has the water element in it, there's like a 50% chance that he filmed it.
Anchorman 2. Oh, he did. Magic City was an underrated show, by the way.
Yeah.
Underrated show. He did that. That's awesome. That was about Miami. The guy who looks like
Underwater
Javier Bardem, but isn't.
Underwater Director of Cinematography is the proper title. Or
He did 127 Hours. Dear John.
Breaking Bad.
Oh, he did Breaking Bad.
He filmed a pool scene in Breaking Bad. Remember the
Yo, that's like one of the best scenes of the whole show.
Yep. When she falls in the pool and she's
Yep. Dude, this guy's done everything.
They flew him out to Arizona just for that fucking scene. How fucking wild is that, man?
This is like your boy.
Oh yeah, he's sick.
Yeah, people Google his filmography. Just like
Into the Blue. I don't know if you've seen Into the Blue, but that's
Paul
a great
Walker,
yeah,
of
with
course.
Paul Walker, Jessica Alba. Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I love that movie, bro.
That was Jessica Alba at her. Oh my god.
Yeah. So Pete is the man. Pete rules. I love that guy.
Yeah. R.I.P. Paul Walker too.
Yeah. He told me some crazy stories about Paul Walker. I'm
Like
not gonna talk about him we'll talk about him off air.
You can't do
Paul
that.
was
I do that sometimes. We gotta try not to do that.
Yeah.
You're better than
I don't
me.
want
Come
to
on.
air out Pete. After we just talked him up, we just put him on a pedestal. I don't want to break him down. I don't want to.
Yeah, you can't break confidence.
People, yeah, you can't break confidence. But Paul was kind of a crazy person.
I've heard he was.
Everybody's got their shit.
He was a what's the term someone used? I forget who was telling me this. He was like an action junkie. I mean, that's how he died.
Yeah, maybe. He died. Yeah, he died driving a Porsche.
Yeah, and he was
100 miles an hour, right?
It was like
Was he the passenger or was he the driver?
I don't remember, but they were saying like the Fast and Furious series had like a truth of his existence in like a parallel universe.
Oh, of course.
A little bit.
Yeah, I'm sure. Or it created it in him. One of the two.
Well, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I didn't know him.
But yeah, Pete. I became really close friends with Pete. He taught me a shitload. That working on Dolphin Tale 1 was like my film school. I learned so much, including the fact that I did not want to work in the film industry.
Why?
Because those guys, their lives are so remote. And one of the guys that was working on the movie named Mickey, he was a camera assistant. And I was like his personal slave for most of the movie. I basically whatever he needed, I would do. And he put it the best possible way for me. He says, because they make so much fucking money.
What does a great one make on a film, on one film? Like, let's say a 3-month shoot.
The guy that holds the slate like that.
Yeah.
Those guys make like fucking 10 grand a week.
Not bad. Yeah, it's pretty fucking good.
And that's like low end of the totem pole in the camera department. If you're an underwater cinematographer, you're making upward. Who knows? I mean, you're making like $50,000 to $100,000 a week, and it never ends. And you're fucking going to the craziest parts of the world, like working with these people and doing the coolest shit. Swimming in the fucking middle of the Indian Ocean or the Red Sea.
Sounds great,
Dude. I mean, it's. Like this one guy, this guy Mickey, who was the camera assistant, he came directly to Dolphin Tale from filming The Dark Knight.
Oh wow!
And the way he summed it up, the lifestyle of those guys is they're carnies with dental plans. They're carnies, but they make a fuckload of money. But they never see their families. They're never home. They have no life outside of that. Traveling, working on movies in different locations. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's fucking fun, especially if you're a young guy. It's got to be an incredible lifestyle, but I don't know how it ends up. That can't be good for later in life and trying to have a family and have kids. And a lot of these guys are going through divorces and aren't happy with their lives because they're in their late 50s or 60s. I mean, few of them make it through and still maintain relationships with their significant others or their kids because they have the money or the means to fly them out to every single movie they're working on. Especially if you're fucking Johnny Depp, you could basically bring your kids, your whole family with you everywhere you go. But
it's another level of money.
Yeah, it's another level. But
Good for you
But it's like
for
working.
recognizing
It's
that.
like working on a construction site. It's the same thing as working construction because I don't know if you ever worked construction before, but there's
I
basically
didn't. I was a caddy.
there's yeah, you were a caddy. I forgot about that. Joe Biden.
Never caddied for Joe. Caddied for some people he knows.
But Joe was around here. You went to the same high school as Joe, right?
I did. Yeah.
It's baller.
Interesting.
Baller.
They let me in there. That's all I'm saying.
But it's working on movies is a lot like working in construction. And Pete got me into, well, he didn't get me into it. I was already into it, but
And he personally
he
trained you?
reinforced my cinematography, especially underwater.
He personally trained you with that?
Personally trained me. Well, yeah, I guess legitimately trained me for sure.
That's awesome. It's like being trained by Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Play basketball.
Yeah, exactly. I'm pretty sure he filmed Michael Jordan's documentary.
Come on.
He filmed the.
Does he do more than just underwater too, or?
I think he has ventured out into being like a normal DP. Like not. I think he has filmed movies where it's not specifically underwater, where he's the actual DP. But I mean, his specialty is water stuff.
What makes that, besides the fact that you're literally fucking underwater and handling not a gravity situation?
It doesn't have to be underwater. It can be a scene where the camera is not even in the water. It could be just above the water. If there's any element of water,
It's everything.
he's got to be there.
Wow.
Yeah.
But when you're actually underwater though, what makes it, besides the obvious of like, hey, you're fucking underwater and it's water, not gravity and all that, like, and you're handling this big thing, but above ground, you're handling big things too. Like very often you're not just doing handhelds, obviously. Like what makes it so highly skillful to be able to do it when someone above land who does cinematography very well, like phenomenal above land,
Yeah.
can't if they're not trained?
Well, first of all, I mean, he's an outdoorsman, I think, before anything. I mean, the guy can probably hold his breath for 5 minutes. He's been scuba diving his entire life. He was born and raised in Miami, and since he was a kid, he's been jumping in Biscayne Bay, fucking filming fish, and not only free diving but scuba diving as well. The guy knows the ocean like no other. He's trained when it comes to scuba diving, and then when you combine his comfort with the ocean with the liability of being on set of a fucking multi-million-dollar movie and the unions, you need somebody like him. And the union protects that. Like they're not just going to take some filmmaker and throw him in the water and say, hey, just, sit in the water, you'll be fine. Like, the union has people like him for that job. And that's what makes it such a valuable position.
Were you in the union?
No, I was not.
Did they ask you to come in?
You have to really put in your time to be in the union. You got to really cut your teeth. Like you got to beg to be an assistant on movies, and you can build relationships with these guys. And like I could have stayed and begged Pete to fucking carry his lunch pail with him everywhere he went, and I probably could have eventually made it into the union. But that's not the path I really wanted to go in my life. Like I didn't want to be, because I had already done that. I had already traveled all over the world filming shit and going to various locations. I didn't, at that point in my life, I just didn't want to. I knew that I wanted to create my own content, and I knew the internet. I knew I wanted to publish it on the internet eventually. I was already publishing some stuff on the internet. I was already doing like short films and little videos here and there on YouTube, and I didn't see it playing out going that route in life.
You strike me as a really, like, spending time with you off camera too, like just your approach. Number one, you're a very, very easygoing guy. And when that comes to like your professional life, you genuinely like having a good time and having freedom, it seems like to me.
Yeah,
so
freedom definitely is the most important thing to me.
Being in environments where there's a million moving pieces and different people who all have the little piece of the cog of the wheel, right?
Right.
I think you'd be the kind of guy who's like, oh God, no.
That's a great way to put it. You actually nailed it. I didn't want to be a cog in the wheel. I wanted to do my own thing. And when you're working on a movie set, you're a cog in the wheel.
I mean, look, you came off of it, and like the content you created on your own, low budget by yourself. Like,
and don't get me wrong, if I could say I'm gonna end up and I'm gonna be the next Pete Zuccarini, I would 100% fucking done that. But it's so rare to become a guy like him. You know what I mean? And you're.
But the trade off too.
He is so fucking good, and he's made so much money, and he's got a great life. He's got kids. He's got his whole family. And
does he see them?
He makes. Oh yeah, he actually does. He's so top of the food chain. He gets to pick and choose the movies he works on, and his he's got the means to bring his family wherever he wants to go. He's in LA working on Avatar for 6 months of the year. He fucking buys a house in LA and moves his family there.
How old is he?
He's probably, roughly. I think I want to say early 50s, maybe late 40s.
How long do you think it took him to get to that point? Like, did he do the first Pirates of the Caribbean? Like, was he there from the beginning?
I'm pretty sure. I mean, you can look it up on IMDb, but I'm pretty sure he did the first Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah. Okay. He's been doing it his whole life. I think I'm not sure exactly. In my podcast, he probably talks about when he first started or when his first movies were.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. I'm very interested.
It's a good one. It's a short one too. It's only like an hour, I think. But there's like lots of B-roll and shit. We took his boat out to this fucking island.
Because you were on the island. Yeah. It was like a special one.
Yeah, it was a super special one.
Let me see if he was on the very first. I kind of assumed he was, but that was a while. That was 2003. Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, Curse of the Black Pearl. Curse of the Black Pearl, 2003. So he was, let's see. How old was he at the time? Does it have birthday?
Look, there's my video. If you Google his name, my podcast is the first video.
Oh, it comes. That's pretty sick. I can't get his age. But I guess if let's say he's like 53, 2003, 19 years ago. Mm-hmm. So that means like by 34, that's not crazy late. That's pretty early to be like on Top Dog. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like once you make that movie, it's like, oh shit, that guy. Right. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So he's getting paid a lot of money. He has the means to move his family around. You can't count, like, you can't tell me he knew that, like, yes, Johnny Depp's attached. It looks awesome. But, like, you can't tell me he knew that was going to become, like, a fucking conglomerate.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Probably not. Probably not.
But which one's your video?
It's the first video on Google.
This one right here?
No, it's a picture. Keep scrolling down. Right there. Up. Right here.
Look this is you.
That's me.
All right, so if I play this, you're not going to block me for
No, I'm not going to block you, bro.
Privacy. Just make sure. Gotta check on my people. Let me turn the...
That's podcast number 34, Julian.
Let me check my sound, get it on our headphones.
Number 34.
No, not
starting at just $40.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. 15.
Sign up today.
All right, let's get rid of this ad.
Buy your own, your underwater camera, mowing people's lawns on the island.
What the fuck?
So, and then...
All right, I skipped to 3.
So this is more of like kind of like a mini documentary / podcast. Like cut in B-roll
for him too.
Oh, this is amazing.
I bought a Pentax
This isn't a podcast.
K1000 and an Ike Light housing. Okay. And that was my first camera, and I shot a lot.
This is how all podcasts should be done.
Lens. And I learned a lot about underwater photography in those days.
Look at him, full
so
scuba suit.
Like you, like,
I have it in the corner of the screen too for people watching.
Obviously, there's a point where anyone picks up a video.
I lost my voice the day
I was
going to
say, how much weed did you smoke before this? What clubs did you go to the night before?
0. We drove there and we were there and out the same day.
I don't believe you.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there's some people out there. I know that there's some people out there doing some beautiful stuff.
He's such an interesting dude, bro. So fucking interesting.
Look at this.
May or may not be interested in
this is
features, which is what I've been doing mostly the last few years.
When you were talking, all right, I'm gonna turn this up. People, check this out. It's called The Art of Underwater Cinematography. It's Koncrete Podcast, Season 1, 15, but it's number 34.
I don't know why it's 30. It's because I had to delete a bunch of podcasts.
Why?
That Maller guy. He was on a bunch of my podcasts, and I deleted them all.
Why?
We had an agreement.
What happened there?
I ended up selling him the series. I created a whole series for called Life for Sale on YouTube, and then we had a disagreement, and then I ended up selling the whole thing to him, including there was like 10 podcasts that we had done together.
Oh, you included that?
There was like 15 podcasts, maybe me and him had done together, just me and him, and I gave them all to him. I sold them all to him. You
still talk with him today?
Every once in a while, not every day. I used to live with him. I lived in his house for like a year.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
But you still have a relationship. That's good.
Not, I wouldn't call it a relationship. We're friendly. We still talk. We still talk to his kids and a lot of people that work for him. I just saw him at a funeral a couple weeks ago.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I hate when business gets in the middle of like cool shit. I do everything I can to not let that happen. But it's happened.
Yeah, it's a crazy thing. I mean, it happens all the time. I mean, stuff like that. I mean, it happens with, you know, when companies like Barstool bring up big podcasts, like the Call Her Daddy podcast, and then all of a sudden these girls who had nobody knew who they were,
Yeah.
and they had this opportunity to build a huge following, and they had all these assets at their disposal to build it, and they got paid for it. Now they've outgrown the nest and they want to fly away and do their own thing. Well, you can't blame them for that.
You can't blame them, but they also, Dave played that hand beautifully because he took care of him.
Yeah.
Like he had no contractual obligation to come in and be like, wow, you guys are really outperforming your contract. He had no obligation to do that. But
right.
the right thing to do
Right.
would be to do that.
Right.
And he did. Now, they were still underpaid relative to what it was. I think he came in and he gave him, after whatever it was, 9 months or something, he went from $75K base salary to roughly, for Alex, it was like $500K.
Oh, wow. You know all the details on this.
Oh, yeah. I was all over this. When this was, I was like, whoa. So I forget what the percentage, he changed the percentages and he gave them possession of IP at the end of the contract. Like
Wow.
he gave them a lot. And it's all verified. And he said it publicly. And the one girl, and I guess no one really knows, but the one girl, Sophia, she had another guy in her ear who was like, "You're getting fucked." He was a suit, and they literally called him Suit Man. It was her boyfriend, and she just wanted more and more and more. And how much Alex was in on that, I guess we'll never know. But eventually, at least Alex was like, "Fuck that," and Alex played it. She ended up playing it really like she's a businessman, man. She's a businesswoman, man.
Yeah,
like
it's a common theme. It's a common theme in media when that happens.
She played it beautiful, and like it kind of like I wasn't a listener of the show. Someone had pointed out to me maybe towards the beginning, and I was like, wow, like I knew how to respect it and be like, all right, this isn't what I would listen to, but
Right.
they're funny and they're really good.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, they're doing a great job. So I listened to like 3 when they sent it to me, and then I never listened to it again. And then that shit happened. And then when I would check it out like after to see what it was like, it's obviously way different. Mm-hmm. So there's always a trade-off, you know, like that definitely changed the whole course of the value of what the actual show was about. I think, you know.
Yeah, I mean, she's killing it on her spot. I think she got like, how much money did she get?
60.
Like $60 million. How fucking crazy is that?
Not crazy when you look at her numbers.
What are her numbers?
They were insane.
Really?
I don't remember them offhand of what they said.
Fucking
We don't
wild.
even know.
I love
the full-
Spotify.
Hey, look, Spotify's done a good job, man.
I think they're coming. I think they're coming for YouTube. I think they're going to keep YouTube honest.
There's a tab now called Video Podcasts
On YouTube?
on Spotify.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Not on YouTube.
And they do they do video. They do video.
Have you thought about putting yours on there?
All mine are on there. They're just not video yet.
Not video.
They're
Yeah,
in
that's
the
what I'm
process.
saying.
They're in the process of transitioning to video at the moment. I just talked to the lady at Spotify. I had a conference call with the lady at Spotify 2 days ago.
Really?
Yep.
How'd that happen?
I email them. I mean, they talk to me. They communicate with me. They bring me sponsors. They're helping me transition the whole fucking.
You and me are gonna talk off camera, you motherfucker.
They're in the process of transitioning my entire podcast on Spotify into video.
Really?
I'm replacing all the episodes with the video versions.
To be continued. We're
Yeah.
gonna
Hell yeah,
discuss
man.
this. Okay.
They're
Yeah,
coming
I'm-
for YouTube, bro. They're
I'm-
coming for YouTube's throat. So YouTube, I hope you hear this.
I do
Demonetize an ass.
I do my best, but I don't.
All the money
I
is way
consider
more
myself
transparent.
very clueless with the podcast business.
Yeah,
Very clueless.
I was too for a long time. But I mean, it's a learning process, just like anything. But you can make a fuckload of money by if you have the audience. Like that's the thing I like about Spotify is every single one of the episodes of the podcast, it's consistent on Spotify.
Yes.
Within a few thousand.
Yes. Literally everyone.
YouTube, fucking caution to the wind. Good luck. If the algorithm likes the video and you get enough, if you get enough click throughs or people like your thumbnail, then your video will do good. Spotify, it's not like that.
The one thing I don't understand about YouTube, and I know they're trying, but it makes me wonder, like, how out of control is the power of the algo? Like, the algorithm doesn't know how to adjust different lengths of content. So, like, my channel, this is why I really admire how you built yours. And if I had my choice, and I didn't have a choice because I'm not a great documentarian and all that, but, like, if I had my choice, I would have built my channel your way, because you built with some feature content that had some length to it, right? For me, it's very simple. It's all on me. I get my whatever views. They send very few of my subscribers the videos into the feed, right? I get my few thousand views on a video. I do bigger numbers on audio. That's always been
I'm sure
the way.
you do way bigger numbers on Spotify and iTunes than you do on YouTube.
Yeah, they're
not including the shorts.
Way bigger, like 20,000.
Not including the shorts.
Yeah, not including shorts. I'm saying, like, it's not 20,000 more, but yeah, you know, like, will I do 5 figures on Spotify and Apple? Yes, like, that happens. But on YouTube, all the episodes that get a fuck ton of views are because I made shorts that went viral that had a link on them. That's it. So YouTube then doesn't go, oh, wow, people are coming to this episode and commenting and like it. I think we'll start sending. No, they don't do that.
So the shorts actually did drive traffic to the long episodes?
1,000%.
What about TikTok?
It's a different app. The conversion rate of a YouTube short compared to a TikTok. For one conversion on YouTube, for one view on YouTube at a conversion rate of X, I need 1,000 views on TikTok for a conversion rate of the same.
Wow.
X. Like Louisa, the big video, and there were 4 with him that did well. The big one though, that did 18.5 million on TikTok, 19, whatever it was, something up there. That same video did, I think, like 6.5 million at this point on YouTube.
The short or the full
yes,
episode?
the short.
Oh, okay.
The same video, short and TikTok.
Yeah.
18.5 on TikTok, 6 whatever on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I think YouTube, out of the views that happened that week, YouTube accounted for 85, 90% of them.
Wow.
And it had 1/3 of the views. Might have been more than that. Because people have to change apps.
Yeah.
And like, I even have the Genius link in there now. I didn't have that for a long time. The Genius link makes people, when they go to my buy, if they actually think about all the effort of that. Asking someone, you're on your feed on TikTok. There's a million videos coming up. You didn't choose it. It's just based on your preferences. Now, you liked my video. Cool. Thank you. Now, take the effort. Click my profile. Go there. Click another link. Wait for it to load. It takes 2 seconds to load.
Right.
Click that, whatever the prompt is. Go there and now interact with my... That's a lot of effort. Whereas if you're on YouTube, you're already there.
Yeah, it's a hustle, man.
It's still more effort, but, like, you're there.
Yeah.
So, like, Genius at least gives them the prompt that says open in the YouTube app. Yes or no.
Right.
So I lose 50% of people right away who are like, there's another prompt, I'm out.
Oh, okay.
But instead of people clicking and it's just a internet page on TikTok where they can't hit subscribe, now the people who actually click through, which is 50% less probably because they have an extra click, they're already on their YouTube. So if they want to hit subscribe or hit a video, they can.
True, and they make it way easier to subscribe on the YouTube Shorts.
Yes, because you're there.
Yeah, there's a big fucking red button on
there.
every single short, right?
You're there.
Right.
So, like, it's a gift and a curse.
Yeah, fuck TikTok, man.
TikTok likes inane, inconsequential content.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. They don't, anything that provokes thought, they will, when someone's running with it, they'll take it. And be like, okay, that was useful. Fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like it. I got banned for hate speech for ripping Nazi Germany.
That's insane.
That's like,
isn't it true that
criminal?
Isn't it true that China like turned TikTok off after a certain hour for young kids?
I believe so. Yes, and their TikTok's entirely different. It's all like educational.
It's all educational.
which is like
How crazy is that?
It's the question of communism versus free democracy, right? Like, give me free democracy all day, obviously. But this is one of the few places where it's like, fuck, they're winning there. Because they can ban content and not give freedom of content choice to
They
their
have a way
kids.
better education system than we do too, right?
I don't know enough about it to comment on it.
I've heard they have better education.
I assume, but I don't know enough to comment
How
on
could we
it.
ever know?
Yeah, how could you?
We couldn't. We just take people's word for it.
That's the other thing. Like, we do that for everything.
Everything. David Satter, fucking John Kiriakou.
Yeah, fair. Any guest. All of them. Bustamante. Mm-hmm. Jim DiOrio.
That's the thing.
I wasn't on the boat with Captain Phillips. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. That's the thing. That's the thing about podcasting. It's just taking people's words for it. But when you're making a documentary and you're there with your feet on the ground, like the early days of Vice, when they would go like heavy metal in Baghdad, where they would go to Baghdad and like fucking go to these death metal show, like and in the middle of these firefights, and like there's a difference between being there and filming something than just talking about it on a microphone.
Can you spot it, though, at this point?
Spot what?
Like, do you feel like sitting in the seat you are?
No.
You can't tell?
Not really.
I think you're underestimating
sometimes more than others, but by and large, not really. Some people are really good. Matt Cox could be fucking selling me. You know, he could be making everything up, and he's so charismatic and so articulate and so charming the way he communicates it. I would never know the difference.
I don't know. I think I haven't really had people blatantly lying here, to my knowledge. I could be wrong. But
Yeah.
I haven't really had that. But I've had people, plenty of people, just based on whether it's what's in their feed or what's been going on in their life, where they're clearly blind to some things. You know what I mean? Like they don't realize, like they're not self-aware to X, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. And I do feel like I had good training in my career to have to spot that for sure. So I had like a learned skill of that. But doing this, headphones on, straight across, darkened out room, nothing but me and you, not phones on airplane mode, chilling. It's definitely gone to a new level. And then I have the benefit of watching the video afterwards. Sometimes when I'm doing a short, I mean, you watch me today editing something quick.
Yeah.
I watch someone say the same thing just through the edit a
Right.
1,000,000 times in a row.
That's something that you need to work on. That's something that I learned. That's a lesson that I learned working on documentaries and working on movies is like watching you make that clip earlier. You did probably 50 takes on that one clip you were talking about. He said, once you have a good one, you just got to fucking stop.
I didn't think I had a good one though.
You had plenty of good ones before.
It only took that. In fairness, you're right. On that one, in fairness, that clip was 6 minutes.
And when you're editing, yeah, right. You're editing a 6-minute clip and you did 50 takes. Once you have one, maybe two decent ones, then you just fucking stop. It's about time. And then when you're editing and editing's different. Editing, you can watch all the takes.
Yes.
But even sometimes when I'm editing, I find one good take if I'm trying to, like, it's different with commercials. There's no takes. I mean, it's different with documentaries. There's no takes in documentaries. It's just like you're videotaping what happens. But in commercials, when you're going for something, and even when I'm editing, like I'll find the first good take in the editing and I know there's 80 more, I'm going to stop. I'm not going to fucking spend all my time trying to find the best one. I'm going to do it and I'm going to move on to the next thing. Like that's one of the biggest things. I mean, it's all about, I mean, you obviously have more to lose the more money that's at stake. Obviously you don't have much at stake here. You're fucking doing this all, you're funding yourself.
Yeah.
But that's a big lesson, is managing your time when it comes to
That's right.
editing and filming, especially when you're trying to come up with a super captivating short for YouTube.
You saw a really small piece of that today, but I agree with you 1,000%. I think that's something I work on all the time.
That's hard to do too.
I'm OCD.
Yeah.
Like, I don't ever want to have a doctor diagnose me. I ain't going on any fucking pills. Fuck that shit.
Yeah.
I ain't doing that. Right? But I don't like self-diagnosing, but like I'm definitely on the higher end of the spectrum of OCD. Like if people would be sick if they saw how I edit some of this stuff. But I have been trying to drill myself, and maybe I didn't do it. Maybe I should look at that. Maybe I didn't do a good enough job today when you saw that one today. But like I have been trying to drill myself to be like, you're turning on this camera once. You're not coming back here, plugging it in, uploading it, and saying, "Oh, I wasn't." No, I twitched there. No.
Right.
This is one clip. You're
right.
like what you saw today. If I'm gonna give myself a little bit of credit, you might have seen me turn this on, upload this, and do it 3 times. Whereas today, and maybe that was because you were here too, and you were like, "No, that one was good." I'm like, "Ah, okay, yeah. Someone knew that was good." Maybe I would have failed, but like I do try to tell myself, Julian, you have one time to do this. That's why, and like this is probably stupid, but that's why I take more time each week and I make myself do those intros in one take.
Yeah.
So the second I fuck something up right from the top, because like it trains me to be like, you have to get it right, and you have one shot to do it.
Right.
Which is a little counterintuitive on that one, I'll admit. But
yeah,
like the theme, I try to do that because I'm not good at that. I have a big weakness there. Like I'll be like, well, no, that one. Well, no, that. Like I'll sit there with 5 or 6 different songs as a potential on a fucking track when it's a really good clip.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God damn it!
Yeah,
they all work.
Yeah, no, I know your pain. Like even like with something like Deckhands, I would spend a whole week trying to find the right music just for one piece of the documentary. Just for one 5-minute segment, I would spend a week just searching Reddit for the right type of clips or right type of music for that. And
fucking unbelievable documentary, by the way.
Thank you.
I know I've said that, but people, Deckhands, Koncrete with a K. Just it's 6 parts. Go watch it. It's fucking amazing.
For the podcast, what's helped me the most is being able to optimize the process of it. Being able to turn it into a machine where I don't have to edit, where I don't have to go back and watch it and fucking cringe, watch my cringe self talk to somebody and fumble and stutter through words. That's made it so much more easy. It's made it easier for me to do, and it's made it. I don't know what I'm getting at, but I guess it's just saved me time. And it's if I had to go back and watch every single episode and edit every single episode, I would have quit. I wouldn't have fucking want. I don't like doing it. I feel like it's not fun for me to go back and watch what I already did and try to, because once I start editing it, I start critiquing every little thing. And I'm like, this fucking sucks. Why am I going to put this out? This is terrible. When I created the system to where Austin fucking switches it live and I don't have to watch it, I just add an intro and an outro. It's like, okay, this is great. I'm like in real time, I'm gaining these skills. I'm honing this ability to communicate with somebody and get the best information I possibly can out of them. And when I'm done, I just wash my hands of it and forget about it and take, whatever I remember or retain from it. I try to retain the best I possibly can, but this hard drive only has so many gigabytes in it and I can only retain so much after however many hundreds of podcasts people do.
I think this is one thing I actually train myself to be okay at, and I had a huge advantage. I built this podcast silently without telling anyone for 6 months ahead of time, right? So I forget podcasts. The number of times I watch myself to get that, I still cringe at shit I do, but I desensitize myself to it. Everything I ever say, I'm like, oh God, that was terrible, right? But now, like, my hand doesn't go like this.
Right.
I'm actively sitting there like, God damn,
that
was terrible.
Yep.
Wow, that was awful. But like, we're on to the next one. And then maybe at the end, if I have a particular cringy episode, I'm like, for 2 minutes, I'm like, wow, you were really bad. But like, when I was training myself to do this, it was every stop. And I'd just be like, Julian, you just threw away that crazy contract and you have made the worst decision of your life. So like I had to get myself there, but like it seems like for you just kind of got yourself to a system somewhat early on where you were just like, okay, well now I don't have to think about it, which seems to have worked in a different way.
Which was necessary or else I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
I still don't really enjoy it, honestly. I mean, I enjoy doing the podcast, but I don't enjoy the final product.
Really?
Mm-mm. I enjoy listening to other podcasts. I think it's a productivity thing.
Oh, well, yes. Like I don't enjoy listening back, especially once I edited it. Like It's not enjoyment for me to listen back to a podcast. I was already there. You know what I mean?
My documentaries are different. Like the documentaries are little short films. I love going back and watching them. So much fun.
Yes, I understand.
This is not that.
I would agree. And I don't make documentaries, to be clear, but like I would agree. Whereas, actually, you know what? Way smaller example, but sometimes I will enjoy picking apart a short and being like, oh, what would I do different now? And I'll respect the fact that at that time I did this.
Right.
It won't be. That's one thing where sometimes I am, but I'm less like, Julian, you fucking idiot. Why'd you do it like that? Now I'm like, oh, I could do that clip again in a year and I could do it like this. You know, like it's probably, your documentaries are way more work and drawn out because they take so long, but like it's probably a similar attitude. Whereas the podcast is just like, okay, we did it.
Right. By the way, do you think Johnny Depp's full of shit when he said during his trial that he hasn't watched any of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies?
I didn't know he said that.
They asked him about it, and he's like, I haven't seen it, sir. I've never watched it.
No, I don't. My first reaction, I could be wrong, but my first reaction is no, I don't think he's full of shit because I think Johnny Depp is a legitimate weirdo who is brilliant at what he does, and he owned being a weird. It's what makes him great. That's why I respect him, and I think, especially when I see what he knowingly has put himself through on this. He knew it. His lawyers told him, you know, he's a big boy. They told, hey, John, you have to read all those texts, all this stuff. And I know what it's like to write stupid shit when you're upset. I have a lot of respect for that. It's not a popular thing to do. It's the harder thing to do.
Yeah.
He doesn't need money. Even if his career's like a little hurt right now, eventually it'll be fine.
Right.
He's brilliant, right? Like they don't care. They let Harvey Weinstein operate for 20 years.
Right, don't get me wrong. I'm definitely team Johnny, not team Amber Heard, but I think he was full of shit on that one. I think
I could see Johnny, he might be full of shit. You might be right. I could see Johnny not.
I love the fact that he was doing coke with Marilyn Manson. I think that's the coolest thing ever.
Hilarious.
That's on my bucket list. I want to do coke with Marilyn Manson. I swear to God, that's on my bucket list for sure.
But I might be
three.
able to help you on that one.
Really? You know somebody?
We'll talk after. I might be able to help you on that one.
I'm actually emailing back and forth with him right now.
With Manson?
Yeah.
No.
Yep. He's coming on my podcast.
No, he's not.
Yes, but he said he has to wait till his lawsuit's over with.
And he didn't get charged.
He's being sued. He's being sued by what's the word for it when a couple girls sue you, a couple people sue you?
Class action.
Is it really class action?
When
maybe
multiple people.
I guess it is class action. Yeah, it's Evan Rachel Wood and like one or two other girls are suing him. But Evan Rachel Wood's the one who's like really going after him.
I'm watching to see if he settles. If he settles,
well, he already
guilty.
countersued him. And he posted a link to his lawsuit, his complaint on his Instagram. But I hope he doesn't settle. I hope he does the same thing Johnny's doing.
Yeah, if he but like that goes a long way. It doesn't mean you're innocent, but like it goes a long way because then you have to prove it. Yeah. Like when I listen to Johnny, I believe him. I think he just
Me too.
I think he just verbally tried to react to this stuff.
Right.
Someone took a shit on your bed. She was a cum dumpster for years for me. Like I think you're just like
oh yeah. Yeah.
It's not like
yeah.
I think that's a human thing, but I don't know. You never know. Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck knows?
Who knows?
It's not my problem.
My whole thing about my thing about the Marilyn Manson thing with Evan Rachel Wood was, okay, she was like what? She was 20 years old or 19 years old when she started dating.
Yeah.
You're 19 and you're dating Marilyn fucking Manson.
He was out of his mind, yeah.
He was like 15 years older than you and he's still Marilyn Manson.
Yeah, you have to know. You're saying you have to know what you're signing up for.
Yeah.
Without going. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Like
when it comes to sexual deviance, he's at the top of the fucking food chain.
Yeah.
You know what you're getting. His whole imagery is revolves around sex and violence and
which doesn't take away that there's things that are straight up wrong, sick and illegal. But
she doesn't claim. I don't think she claimed that she was. I don't think she claimed that she was raped.
Either. It was. I forget what it was. It was a few other things though.
Yeah, it's like she claimed. She claimed that she was like groomed or like psychologically manipulated into doing some fucking weird sexual things with him. I don't know everything for sure, but Either way, when it all shakes out,
we'll
he's
talk
coming
about
on the
that
Concrete
after.
podcast.
He'll be an interesting one. I know some people who know him.
Do you really?
Yeah, I'll tell you after.
All right.
But he's
Check that off the bucket list.
yeah, he's a character for sure.
Smart
Definitely-
guy.
dude. When
He's a fucking smart
He is
dude.
smart.
Very smart.
heard that.
Have you watched any of his old interviews that he's done with on like Bill Maher and Bill
definitely haven't seen
O'Reilly?
him
He was on Bill
Maher.
O'Reilly, Bill
Haven't seen any of
Maher.
those.
Fuck, dude. When he was like in his 20s.
I've just heard about how he is like off count, like off the whole deal from people who are.
He was like in his
Who I
20s
trust.
quoting Freud in like an interview on MTV. You know, when they're accusing him of Columbine shootings, every single fucking shooting that happened was blamed on him when he was first starting his career in the 90s and going on MTV Music Awards, and he was on Bowling for Columbine. They're like, what would you say to the Columbine shooters if they were here right now? And what did he say? He said like the best thing ever. He was like, I wouldn't say a word to them. I'd listen to what they had to say, and that's what no one did. He was like,
Wow, that's interesting.
dude's like 23 when he said that.
Have you ever seen the Defiant ones? Oh, you're a documentary guy, a maker, and you haven't seen the Defiant
No, there's a lot
ones?
of good things I haven't seen.
All right, you're gonna have to watch that. That was a 4-part series on HBO, 2017. It's one of my favorite things ever made. About the collision of Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre in the music industry, which commenced or it ended with their selling beats to Apple Music. But like it started with Dre as like an up and coming rapper producer, like on the scene. Jimmy Iovine was an Italian kid from Brooklyn, like getting by with the E Street Band and making music with interesting people. And
Maybe I have seen this.
it is basically a history of what's been important in music over the last 4 or 5 decades. And it's
Really?
fucking incredible. And in that, like Interscope, and that's part of where I have some people, they changed everything, man. Like, you think about it, they were everything from Dre and Snoop to Marilyn Manson to 9 Inch Nails to Gwen Stefani to Tupac.
Yeah,
They didn't give a fuck.
that's crazy shit.
They changed the world. And not all for the best, but like also a lot of great shit. Like nothing's all great or all bad, right?
Yeah.
Like there's always, well, a couple things are, but there's usually like nuance to it. There's some things that aren't positive, but there's so much like the brilliant things that were created there and the mentality behind the scenes of how they went about that and what the thought was and leading with the art and just saying, let them be them. Holy shit. I mean, it's like my only problem with that documentary is it should have been 16 parts, not 4. It was that fucking unbelievable.
Wow.
That-
And it follows Interscope?
Yeah. The 3rd part, which is about, I think it's like 90 minutes, which covers like the height of the 90s of Interscope, is like, it's like I've never done Blow, but like, it's got to be like ripping 5 lines of Blow and hearing the wildest story of your life, where they just like tell it way too fast, but it's incredible.
Wow. I have seen the documentary that, what's the guy from 30 Seconds to Mars? What's his name again? Jared Leto?
Yeah.
The documentary he did about when he sued his Warner Music, his record label. Crazy documentary where he just filmed the whole lawsuit.
I don't know that one.
Basically exposes the whole predatory nature of record labels.
There is a lot of that. I mean, it's so real.
How they'll give you the advance and then basically you end up owing them hundreds of thousands of dollars and you're a slave to them to make new music for the rest of your career.
I had Famous Dylan here.
Crazy fucking. What's the name of that fucking documentary? It's called
Artifact?
Artifact.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had Famous Dylan here twice now. I mean,
Who?
He would, song Jordan Belfort. I be getting dirty money, Jordan Belfort. You know that song?
No.
It's been streamed hundreds of, maybe billions of times.
No, never heard of it.
I be getting dirty money, Jordan Belfort. No,
I'd have to hear it.
you would know it.
No, I haven't heard it then.
I mean, he and Wes, who made that song, they were kids. They were fucking 19. They got fucked.
Yeah.
They got fucked. There's another I won't name this person. I don't like name dropping, and this person's never been on the podcast. But there's another large name whose crew I've been around on various projects of stuff, and it's like when you hear the story, and then that one's even worse. Like when you hear about what these labels did, I mean, and it's bad. Like some of the people I know in the label industry who are amazing people. There's one guy I'm thinking of in particularly who is, you can look at his entire career. He is beloved by everyone he's ever worked with. Like when you hear people giving thank you speeches at the Grammys, they're putting him front and center.
Really?
Yeah. And one of the most amazing people in the history of the business. Very few people know his name, and that's how he likes it. True artist guy. You know, he was always frank with me. You know, he doesn't rip a lot of people. He's a very introverted, quiet, way too humble guy, but I mean, he says it without saying it. You know? And he's like, not great.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of that, unfortunately. And these people they're leeches. They suck everything up in front of them. And they don't give a fuck about you.
Yep.
Where you're from, what your mom thinks, they don't care.
Right.
It's sad.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think that industry lasts.
It's changing.
It's definitely changed a lot. I mean, a lot of those companies have gone under.
Yeah, I mean, Dill's been leading. He's been like leading the way. He hasn't even made a ton of music recently at all. He's just been leading the way in music NFTs.
Okay.
Like how that's being viewed. He's that guy's so funny. He could make the most boring sentence sound like the world just flipped over. He'd be like, I just walked in this room and I sat down. And I'm like, wow. So funny, man. He's great.
I love that.
But like, yeah, I mean, there's got technology and innovation and, you know, the individual power over time.
Yeah.
I'll bet on it every time.
Yeah.
But Danny, we just did, I don't know how long, but it was a long time. It's definitely over 3 hours.
Definitely 3 hours at least.
You're the man.
That was awesome, man. Thank you for doing this with me. I appreciate you inviting me up here and popping my podcast cherry. I'm being a podcast guest cherry.
I don't know why you're not a guest on shit. That makes no sense to me. I was a guest. Like you asked me to be a guest on yours. I'm like, wait, you mean him?
Dude,
right?
you're
Wrong
fucking
person.
You're fucking fascinating, dude, man. You're super interesting to talk to.
I appreciate it. That was a fun podcast. I had a good time coming down there for the weekend.
Thank you for the how do you pronounce the whiskey?
Doers.
Doers.
It's an inside joke, but yeah, we're a doers household around here. Not by choice, just gonna happen. Shout out, Murph.
Comes with the territory. When you're from Jersey, you drink Doers.
Anyway, tell people where they can find Koncrete with a K, Koncrete.
You just did it, brother. Koncrete podcast on YouTube, Spotify, everywhere. It's at Koncrete, pretty much everywhere.
I'm gonna ask you an impossible question before we go. Who's your favorite person you've ever talked to on there?
There is no favorite. I thought about this the other day. I was in the shower and I came up with a perfect answer to this. Because you know how many people have asked me that question, and I always get stumped.
I don't have an answer for it myself, so it's hypocritical to ask, but I'm still asking.
Julian Dorey.
Good answer. Touche.
Cheers, brother. Thank you for having me.
Cheers. We'll do it again.
Yes, sir.
All right. Keep it rolling.
Let's go eat some Italian food.
Yeah, this fucking guy loves New Jersey. Classic. Anyway, everybody else, you know what it is. Give it a thought. Get back to me. Peace.